Hello there. Come in, but mind your step. This is Jonathan's Coffeehouse, and it's the beating heart of London's trade. My name is John Castaing. You might see me as just another face in this smoky, chaotic crowd. But what I do here changes fortunes. Forget the Grand Royal Exchange, with its stone pillars and formal airs. The real action? It's right here, amidst the steam of the coffee pots and the buzz of 100 different conversations. Look around you. This isn't just a place to sip the latest fashion from the Americas. This is a marketplace. Every man here is either a buyer, a seller, or a source of information. And in our world, information is more valuable than gold. More valuable even than the cargo sitting in the holds of ships halfway across the world. See that gentleman over there, with the worried brow and the ink-stained fingers? That's Edward Lloyd. His little coffee house, not too far from here, is becoming the go-to spot for men who deal in risk. A ship captain wants to insure his vessel for a perilous journey to the Indies. He goes to Lloyd's. A merchant with a warehouse full of wool needs to protect it against fire. He goes to Lloyd's. The men who sit at his tables listen, calculate the odds, and for a small premium they'll write their name at the bottom of a policy. They are the underwriters. They literally write their names under the risk. A whole new industry, born right there, next to the sugar bowl. And over in that corner, the boisterous crowd from Garraway's is probably arguing over the price of whale oil or the latest shipment of tea. Each coffee house has its own specialty, its own crowd, its own flavor. But Jonathan's is for us, the stock jobbers, the brokers. We are a new breed, born from this very chaos. We don't own the ships. We don't own the cargo. We trade in the promises, the expectations, the very paper that represents them. My trade isn't in silk or spices, it's in numbers. A few years back in 1698, I had an idea. All this talk, all this gossip, it's worthless unless it's reliable. A rumor flies one way, a lie flies another. Fortunes are made and lost on whispers, so I started this. Holds up a printed list. The course of the exchange and other things. Every Tuesday and Friday I publish a list. Stocks, exchange rates, commodity prices, not rumor, but fact. Collected, verified, and printed for all to see. It provides a common ground, a single source of truth in a sea of noise. And for that, people are willing to pay. How do I get my numbers? Speed and verification. I have runners, nimble lads who can dart between the coffee houses faster than a sedan chair can navigate these crowded streets. They bring me prices from Garraway's, from the exchange, from Lloyd's. I also have couriers stationed at the ports. When a ship is sighted off the coast of Dover, my man sends a rider. He doesn't wait for the ship to dock in the Thames. By the time the official announcement is made, the news is already old, and the profit is gone. My cardinal rule: I never act on a single report. Always two independent sources. A courier from the coast and a whisper from a well-placed clerk. A note from a ship's captain and a price fluctuation at Lloyd's. Only when two separate streams of information tell the same story do I make my move. That's how I built my fortune. Not by taking wild risks, but by knowing more and knowing it faster than anyone else. This system creates something truly magical: liquidity. Before, if you owned a share in a ship's voyage, you were stuck. You had to wait months, even years, for it to return, hoping it hadn't sunk or been taken by pirates. Now, if you hear a worrying rumor about French privateers, you can come here, to Jonathan's, and sell your share in an instant. You sell the risk to someone else, someone with a stronger stomach or better information. You don't have to wait for the ship to reach the dock. The value exists right here, in this room, fluctuating with every scrap of news. We've even devised ways to profit from the movement itself, regardless of the cargo. Say you believe the price of East India Company stock is about to fall. You can sell short. You borrow a share from me for a fee and immediately sell it at today's high price. Then you wait. If you're right and the price drops, you buy it back at the lower price, return the share to me, and pocket the difference. Of course, if you're wrong and the price rises, well, your losses can be limitless. It's a dangerous game. Let me show you. Just last week, a whisper started circulating. A Dutch convoy laden with silver was supposedly captured by the French off the coast of Spain. panic. The price of Dutch government bonds began to slide here at Jonathan's. People were desperate to sell. But my man at Garraway's, where the Dutch merchants tend to gather, sent word. The prices there were holding firm. They weren't panicking. That's an arbitrage opportunity. The same asset trading at two different prices in two different places. I sent my clerk to quietly buy up the cheap bonds here, while I walked over to Garraway's to gauge the mood. The men there were calm, sipping their coffee. They had better connections, closer to the source in Amsterdam. Just as I suspected, the rumor was false. An hour later, a sealed letter arrived for one of the leading Dutch merchants. He read it, smiled, and calmly announced the convoy had been delayed by weather, but was perfectly safe. Back at Jonathan's, the news spread like wildfire. The price of those bonds didn't just recover, it shot up. I sold the bonds I had bought at the bottom of the panic for a handsome profit. I didn't know for certain what the truth was at first. I just knew the market was out of balance. I traded the discrepancy. I bought the panic at Jonathan's and sold into the calm confidence of Garraway's. That is the art of this business. It's not about the ships. It's about the flow of orders, the spread between prices, and spotting when one group of people knows less than another. But this new world has a dark side. With the promise of quick riches comes the danger of madness. Look at these pamphlets being passed around. Ventures to drain the Red Sea for Pharaoh's gold. Companies founded to build a cannon to shoot a man to the moon. Promises of impossible returns, preying on greed and gullibility. People are pouring their life savings into schemes that are nothing but air and ink. A mania is brewing. I can feel it. Something big and dangerous. What some are calling a bubble. How does one survive when the whole world goes mad? I live by simple rules. First, trade the tape, not the talk. Trust the numbers on my list, not the wild stories in the air. The price tells you what people are actually doing with their money, not what they say they're going to do. Second, never marry a position. Never fall in love with a stock or a trade. If the facts change, you must change your mind. Be willing to admit you were wrong and get out, even at a small loss. Pride is the most expensive commodity in this city. This coffee, this little bean, it has changed our world. It fuels our minds, keeps us sharp through long days and longer nights. But it also brought us together in this room to create a new kind of engine for the empire. Empires, you see, run on ships and trade and armies, but the prices that fund it all, the value that makes the entire system work, that runs on news bottled into numbers, and I bottle that news and I sell it. Thank you for listening to my story. The world of finance is just beginning, and its future will be even more incredible and more dangerous than you can imagine. If you found this interesting, please consider subscribing for more tales from the heart of the market. We have many more stories to tell.